She locks eyes with you a second too long. She laughs at things that aren't even funny. She casually touches your arm. But does that really mean she's sexually into you? Or is she just being friendly? Get this wrong, and you might chase someone who was never interested to begin with. Or worse, miss your shot with a woman who was practically waiting for you to make a move. Most guys don't realize this, but there are very specific low-key signs a woman gives off when she's sexually attracted to you. And I'm not talking about vague stuff like she smiles at you. I'm talking about the real, primal signals that cut through the noise and tell you exactly what's going on in her mind. And once you spot these signs, I'll show you exactly how to trigger obsession, how to become the guy she literally can't stop thinking about. She locks eyes with you a second too long. You can feel the weight of her gaze, lingering just enough to make you wonder if it means something. She laughs at something you said, but it's not even that funny. Then she touches your arm, lightly, casually, but it lingers just a fraction longer than what feels normal. Now you're left questioning. Does this mean she's sexually attracted to you, or is she just being friendly? It's a tricky situation that almost every guy has found himself in at some point. If you get it wrong, you risk doing one of two things. You either chase someone who never had interest, or you miss your shot entirely with a woman who's giving you all the signals you need. Either way, it feels like a waste of time and worse, like you're somehow doing something wrong. The thing is, most men don't realize that there are very specific primal signs a woman gives when she's sexually attracted to you. And I'm not talking about those vague general signals like she smiles at you or she seems nervous around you. I'm talking about the real stuff, the deeper, more subconscious cues that tell you exactly what's going on in her mind. These signals aren't obvious. In fact, they can be so subtle that unless you're tuned into them, you might miss them entirely. And that's a huge problem. If you can't read the signals, how are you supposed to know if she's actually interested? Worse, how are you supposed to turn that interest into something more, something lasting? This is where most men get tripped up. They mix up general friendliness with genuine sexual attraction. And let's be real, it's hard to figure out the difference, especially when women are often trained by society to be subtle, to play coy, or to avoid coming across as too forward. There's no rule book they're following that says, hey, if I like you sexually, I'm going to make it really clear. Number. It's way more nuanced than that. Society tells women to be mysterious, to keep guys guessing, and this makes it difficult for men to know where they stand. Are they in the friend zone, or is she just trying to play it cool? You end up with these mixed signals. A girl flirts with you one day, then seems distant the next. You get conflicting messages, and it starts to mess with your head. You wonder if you're doing something wrong, or if maybe it's just you. But it's not about you being bad with women. It's about not knowing how to read the signals that really matter. Most of the advice out there is too generalized, too focused on making you feel good rather than teaching you what's actually going on in a woman's mind. So, what are those signals? And how do you use them to your advantage? Let's go deeper. What exactly does sexual attraction look like in a woman's behavior? How can you tell when she's giving you the green light to escalate things without pushing her away or coming on too strong? And once you know she's into you, how do you flip the switch and trigger the kind of obsession that'll make her think about you constantly? I'm going to break it all down for you, piece by piece. And trust me, once you understand this, you'll be able to navigate any situation with confidence and clarity. No more guessing, just results. So, let's dive into the real signs that tell you a woman is sexually attracted to you. First, we need to understand that attraction isn't just about physical appearance or even what she says. It's about how she behaves around you. You've probably heard the phrase, actions speak louder than words. And when it comes to attraction, that couldn't be more accurate. Women communicate interest through their body language, their energy, and subtle cues that can easily fly under the radar if you're not paying attention. One of the first things you'll notice when a woman is sexually attracted to you is how she positions herself when she's around you. Does she face you directly when you talk? Or does she angle her body toward you even when she's with a group? This isn't a coincidence. When a woman feels attraction, She will often orient her body towards you in a way that's subtle but intentional. It's a primal sign that says, I'm interested in you, and I want you to know it. If she's constantly turning her body in your direction, you're likely on the right track. Then there's the issue of proximity. Notice how she behaves when you're in the same space. Does she stand a little closer than necessary? Does she find excuses to brush up against you, even casually? Pay attention to those little moments of touch. They might seem innocent, but they're not. When a woman is sexually attracted, she will often engage in subtle physical contact to create a deeper connection. And the key here is that it feels natural. It's not a forced touch, it's effortless, almost like it's just happening by accident. But in reality, it's carefully calculated to build rapport and heighten the attraction. But it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the eyes. Eye contact can reveal a lot about how someone feels about you. And with women, it's no different. If she's attracted to you, her eyes will linger on you in ways that go beyond a quick glance. She might hold your gaze just a little longer than usual, or you might catch her looking at you from across the room when she thinks you're not paying attention. And here's the thing about eye contact. It's not just about how long she looks at you, but the intensity behind it. If you notice that she's giving you that lingering look, it's a strong signal that there's something deeper going on in her mind. Now let's talk about the tone of her voice. When a woman is sexually attracted to you, her voice will often change. It might become softer, warmer, or even more breathy. This shift in tone is something that happens subconsciously when she feels comfortable and drawn to you. You might notice her speaking with more enthusiasm or even laughing a little more than usual when you're around. This isn't about being fake or overdoing it. It's just a natural response to someone she finds sexually attractive. It's all about how she feels in your presence. And here's another key sign to look for: how she responds to your touch. We all have personal boundaries, and when a woman likes you sexually, she'll often let her guard down when you touch her in non-threatening ways. Let's say you're talking and you lightly touch her arm or her shoulder. If she reacts by not pulling away, or if she even subtly leans into your touch, that's a major signal of attraction. If she was uncomfortable or uninterested, she'd pull back or make an excuse to move away. But when she's sexually drawn to you, her body will lean in, almost like it's craving that connection. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I'm seeing some signs, but how do I know if it's actually sexual attraction or just friendship? Well, the key here is to pay attention to the context and how often these behaviors happen. If she's only doing these things when you're with a group, or if she's only acting this way out of politeness, it could be something else. But when these behaviors happen consistently, especially in one-on-one situations, it's a clear indicator that there's something more going on. Now that you have a clearer picture of the signs that show sexual attraction, let's take it one step further. How do you use these signs to your advantage? How do you move from knowing she's attracted to actually getting her to become obsessed with you? This is where the real power comes in. The key isn't just recognizing attraction, it's about escalating it in a way that keeps her wanting more. And once you know how to do that, you're not just a guy she's attracted to. You become the guy she can't stop thinking about. Now that you know how to spot the signs of sexual attraction, let's dive into how you can escalate this attraction and make her become obsessed with you. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her. It's about understanding the psychology of desire and using it to your advantage in an authentic, powerful way. The truth is, women are naturally drawn to confidence and mystery. When you combine those two elements, it becomes nearly impossible for her to resist you. The first thing you need to do is start pulling back. Yes, I'm saying that you should actually give her some space. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But this is one of the most powerful techniques to increase attraction. Think about it. When you're always available, when you're always chasing her, it sends the message that you're not a challenge. And guess what? Women love challenges. They want to feel like they're earning your attention and affection. If you're always right there, handing her everything she wants, there's no excitement. There's no mystery. She might like you, but the attraction won't deepen. However, when you create a bit of distance, when you withdraw just enough to make her feel like she has to work to get your attention, you increase her desire. This doesn't mean you should play mind games or intentionally ignore her. The idea is to be unpredictable, to not always be available at her beck and call. When she feels like she has to chase you a little, she will naturally want you more. But here's the key: you don't want to withdraw too much. You want to strike a balance between giving her space and still being present enough to keep the connection alive. It's a subtle dance, and when done correctly, it'll drive her wild. Another tactic you can use to escalate attraction is to start building sexual tension. You can do this by incorporating small touches, glances, and playful banter into your interactions. The goal here is to make her feel the heat between you without making it obvious. For example, if you're standing next to her, you might let your hand brush against hers just a little longer than necessary. Or if you're talking to her, you might make eye contact and give her a smile that's just a little more intense than what's normal. These small moments create a kind of electricity between you, and she'll start to feel it too. You can also play with the power dynamic. A lot of attraction comes down to dominance and submission. Women are wired to respond to men who show leadership and strength, both physically and emotionally. But that doesn't mean you need to be aggressive or overbearing. What it does mean is that you need to exude confidence in your actions, words, and body language. When you display that quiet, unshakable confidence, she will begin to see you as the kind of man she wants to be with, someone who can lead and take charge without hesitation. This kind of energy is magnetic and will pull her in. But here's where most guys mess up. They get too eager. They get so caught up in the chase that they start to overcompensate. They start showering her with attention, giving her compliments every 5 seconds, and becoming overly nice. But let me tell you something. That's a huge turnoff. Women don't want a guy who's constantly trying to win them over with praise or acts of service. They want a man who's self-assured enough not to need validation. The trick is to be present, show interest, and give her just enough attention to keep her wanting more. Too much, and you'll overwhelm her. Too little, and she might think you're not interested. The sweet spot is somewhere in between, where she's constantly craving your attention, but never feeling smothered by it. One of the most effective ways to make her obsessed with you is to tap into her deepest emotions. Now, I'm not talking about manipulating her feelings or trying to control her. I'm talking about creating emotional experiences that are tied to you. The way to do this is by sharing moments of vulnerability with her. When you open up about something personal, your dreams, your challenges, your passions, it creates a deeper connection. It shows her that you're not just another guy who's interested in her for shallow reasons. You're someone she can trust, someone who's real. And the more real you are with her, the more she'll want to be around you. This emotional connection is what turns mere attraction into obsession. It's not just about physical attraction anymore. It's about building a bond that she can't shake. Once she starts associating you with these powerful emotional experiences, she will find it difficult to stop thinking about you. You become tied to her feelings of excitement, vulnerability, and desire. And now that you know how to create attraction and escalate it, let's talk about how to keep her obsessed. This is where things get interesting, because it's not just about having her interested for a moment. It's about making her crave you every single day. The key here is consistency, not in the sense of being predictable, but in maintaining the right level of attention, challenge, and emotional connection that keeps her wanting more. One of the biggest mistakes guys make when they finally start seeing success with women is that they ease off. They think, okay, I've got her interested. Now I can relax and let things flow. But here's the thing. As soon as you stop putting in the effort, the attraction starts to fade. You see, women need that emotional and psychological stimulation to stay attached. When you become complacent, you lose the spark that made her obsess over you in the first place. This doesn't mean you have to be constantly doing something. but it's about maintaining that balance of mystery, excitement, and connection. Keep challenging her. Keep keeping her on her toes, just enough to make her feel like there's always more to discover about you. Keep providing moments that reinforce the emotional bond. Take her on adventures that show her different sides of your personality. Make her laugh. Make her feel heard. Make her feel desired, but don't overdo it. Another way to keep her obsessed is to never stop improving yourself. Women are naturally drawn to men who are always growing and evolving. Whether it's improving your career, learning new skills, or bettering your physical health, this growth is magnetic. The more you invest in yourself, the more attractive you become. Women want to be with someone who has a sense of direction, purpose, and ambition. The moment you start to stagnate, that's when the attraction begins to wane. So keep leveling up. Keep becoming the best version of yourself. Finally, don't forget that relationships are built on trust. If you want her to stay obsessed, you need to create a sense of security with her. This doesn't mean you have to be clingy or overly dependent. Actually, that would drive her away. But it does mean that you should always be genuine and consistent in your actions. Be someone she can rely on. Be someone who keeps his word, who shows up when he says he will, and who's emotionally available when she needs you. When you build this trust, she won't just be attracted to you, she'll be attached to you in a way that keeps her coming back. Now, remember, obsession isn't about forcing someone to feel a certain way. It's about being the kind of man who naturally makes her feel attracted, excited, and connected. You're not playing games, you're simply understanding the psychology of attraction and using it to create a deeper bond. The more you understand her signals and the more you can create experiences that keep her engaged, the more likely she'll become obsessed with you. So, to sum it all up, learn to read her signs. Understand the dynamics of attraction. Use the subtle power of withdrawal to keep her on her toes. Build emotional connection and be consistent. And most importantly, continue to evolve as a person. Because the man she falls for isn't just the one who gives her attention. He's the one who inspires her to feel more, to experience more, and to want more of him. When you combine these elements, not only will she be sexually attracted to you, but she'll find it nearly impossible to let you go. If you want to learn more about mastering attraction and relationship dynamics, hit that subscribe button and check out my next video.